السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم في الجلسة الرابعة من مؤتمر شمال إفريقيا الدولي للموانئ والمناطق الحرة. هذه الجلسة تحمل عنوان حلول مبتكرة للموانئ والمناطق الحرة، والتي سيترأسها الأستاذ الدكتور علاء محمود مرسي، عميد معهد تدريب الموانئ وأستاذ الهندسة الإنشائية بالأكاديمية العربية للعلوم والتكنولوجيا والنقل البحري.
شكرا لحضرتك وشكرا لحضراتكم جميعا. يمكن يوم اعتقد ان احنا بعد اللانش بريك محتاجين ان احنا نفوق شويه كده، واعتقد مفيش احسن من ان احنا نتكلم على الانوفيشن والابتكار في الموانئ والمناطق الحره. يمكن هي مقصوده يعني ان تبقى بعد اللانش بريك السيشن ديت، علشان انا متاكد انها هتبقى يعني فيري اكسايتنج سيشن، وخصوصا انها جت بعد الديجيتاليزيشن. فاعتقد ان التو سيشنز مربوطين ببعض ربط كبير. ويمكن يعني معايا نخبه من الاساتذه في مجال الديجيتاليزيشن والاي اي والارتفيشال انتليجنت والانوفيشن. وسبحان الله يعني هي مش عارف جت بالصدفه ولا لا، ان لو ركزتوا في اسماء التوبكس هنلاقي ان في كلمه سيلينج. ف يعني الدكتور عمرو الطويل برضو بيتكلم على السيلينج تو الانفيلينج ذا بوتنشال اوف ديجيتال توينز. ديجيتال توينز من الحاجات المهمه، واتمنى ان يعني الدكتور عمرو يدينا فكره مستفيضه عن الديجيتال توينز، وخصوصا ان احنا في الفتره الاخيره بنسمع كتير عن الديجيتال توينز وعايزين نفهم ايه هي الديجيتال توينز وعلاقتها بالنقل البحري. بروفيسور يوس بيتكلم على الديجيتاليزيشن في الماريتايم اندستري بصفه عامه. مان نظير وهو يعني صديق عزيز لينا من University of Norway، هو هيبقى مداخله عبر الأثير اونلاين، وبرضه بيتكلم على السيلينج into the digital age. ف let us sail to the innovation. يعني احب اقدم استاذنا الاستاذ الدكتور عمرو الطويل. الاستاذ الدكتور عمرو الطويل هو عميد سكول اوف انوفيتيف اند ديزاين انجينيرنج، عميد كليه الابتكار والتصميم الهندسي بالجامعه المصريه اليابانيه بالاسكندريه. الاستاذ الدكتور عمرو الطويل اساسا استاذ هندسه صناعيه، وترأس قسم هندسه صناعيه وانتاج بكليه الهندسه جامعه اسكندريه خلال الفتره من 2011 الى 2018. الدكتور عمرو الطويل له ريسيرش انترست كبير في مجال الاوبريشن ريسيرش والديستريكت ايفنت سيميوليشن، واعتقد هو ده جزء كبير من اللي هيتكلم عليه. يعني الميزه في الدكتور عمرو اوت اوف ماي هاند ان هو بيجمع ما بين الاي اي والديجيتاليزيشن والكونتينر تيرمينالز اوبريشن والكونتينر تيرمينال اوتوميشن. فالدمج ما بين الحاجتين دول اعتقد ان هو مهم. مش عايز اطول على حضراتكم، اتفضل دكتور عمرو. 15 minutes for you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم. يعني بداية أشكر المنطقة الحرة بمصراتة والأكاديمية العربية للعلوم والتكنولوجيا والنقل البحري إن هي أتاحت لي فرصة زيارة ليبيا الشقيقة، وإن أنا يعني ألتقي بحضراتكم وبالزملاء الأفاضل المتحدثين من كل مكان في العالم في المحفل الجميل ده، وفرصة إن احنا نتشارك مع بعض التطورات الجميلة اللي بتحصل في النقل البحري، ونشوف ازاي ممكن كلنا نتعلم ونستفيد ونقدم ما هو أحسن وأفضل لدولنا في المنطقة العربية. بداية يعني بشكر الدكتور على المقدمة الجميلة. أنا أستاذ هندسة صناعية وشغال في مجال الكونتينر تيرمينال بلاننج اند مانجمنت من 10 سنين. أنا وفريق عمل من الباحثين، ولينا publications موجودة يعني الحمد لله في كثير من الدوريات العالمية والمؤتمرات الدولية. ويعني في كل مكان في البرزنتيشن هنلاقي الكيو ار كودز دهيت لكل المرفقات ولمصادر اللي انا بستخدمها في البرزنتيشن الخاصة بيا. ففي اي وقت يعني اتفضلوا زوروا المواقع اللي انا حاططها، هتلاقوا فيها معلومات اضافية عما اعرضه على الشاشة. طيب النهارده ان شاء الله هتكلم على في لاج ما بين اوكي. هتكلم على موضوع الديجيتال توينز، وتحديدا ازاي ان هي بتساهم في تكنولوجيا وتطور النقل البحري واداره المواني والمواني الذكيه. فيعني مش هكتر بقى كتير بقى في المقدمه. زي ما قال الدكتور علاء، المحاضره دي استكمال للسيشن السابقه كلها. فهمنا يعني ايه الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه وازاي وصلنا لها، ثم تطور ووصلنا للديجيتاليزيشن والمواني الذكيه. فالكلام في نفس هذا السياق ان شاء الله. احنا بدون شك بقالنا كذا سنه دلوقتي في الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه، وبعد لما كنا بنتكلم على يعني ايه الثوره الرابعه، اصبحنا بنلمس الكلام ده بنفسنا في كل مناحي الحياه. ده غير الحاجات الجميله اللي هي جايه النهارده دلوقتي. ومن اهم سمات الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه، احنا في خلال السنوات الحاليه بنشهد وهنشهد كثير من التطورات، وحاجات كتير كنا بنشوفها في افلام الخيال العلمي اصبحت واقع حقيقي. ويعني يحضرني هنا هوت رساله هامه قالها كلاوس شواب اللي هو مؤسس منتدى الاقتصادي العالمي. وهو بيقول ازاي الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه دي هتفتح افاق جديده لكثير من التطور والتقدم، وازاي هيكون ليها تاثير ملموس على الاقتصاد والحياه الاجتماعيه وحتى التطور الذاتي والتطور الشخصي. زي ما الزملاء قالوا في السيشن الماضيه، في اوجه كثير جدا بتظهر فيها الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه: artificial intelligence وماشين ليرنينج، الانترنت اوف ثينجز، ال 5G نتوركس، بلوك تشينز، الكلاود والايدج كومبيوتنج، الكلاود مانيفاكتشرنج، ديجيتال توينز، سمارت فاكتوريز، سايبر فيزيكال سيستم، كمبيوتر انتليجنت مانيفاكتشرنج. كل دي مناحي مختلفه بتساهم فيها الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه بالتطوير والانجاز. وزي ما قلت لكم، ايرون مان اصبح حقيقه، كنا بنشوفه في الافلام، النهارده واقع. واقع مش بس ملموس، لا، واقع تقدر تروح تشتريه وتستخدمه. ما بقتش احلام خلاص، ما بقتش خيال علمي، بقى منتج موجود تقدر انت تستخدمه او تظهر في نفس هذا السياق. زي مثلا دخول الروبوتس في عمليات كتير جدا. الروبوت اللطيف ده هوت بيعمل ديليفري، وموجود النهارده في اماكن كتير في العالم، وبيستخدم عن طريق ابلكيشن بسيط. الروبوتكس بالذات بتشهد تطور كبير جدا. بوستون داينامكس بتستعرض الروبوت بتاعها، وازاي ان هو بقى متطور جدا ومتقدم جدا، وبيعمل حاجات يعني بعض البشر يعجزون عن القيام بيها. يعني احنا هنشوف في الجزء القادم دهوت حاجه بيعملها الروبوت صعبه جدا على يمكن الانسان. وزميلي الدكتور جمال ورانا المخازن الجديده اللي موجوده في امازون وفي علي بابا، وازاي الروبوتس هي اللي بتشتغل فيها وتتحكم فيها. من ناحيه تانية في اللوجيستكس، الدرونز والدرون ديليفري اصبحت ستاندرد. بقى عادي جدا ان يكون في درون ديليفريز وشغاله بقى لها سنوات. النهارده في لوجان في استراليا تو ديليفري نتكلم في 30 دقيقه. فيعني تطور مذهل جدا، وكلها مشاهد للثوره الصناعيه الرابعه، وازاي ان هي بتغير وهتغير في اسلوب حياتنا وفي الاقتصاد، وديفنتلي هتغير في اللوجستيات وهتغير في المواني الذكيه وحركه النقل. يجي كل ده بقى ونيجي في نوفمبر 2022 ويظهر تشات جي بي تي، والثوره اللي عملها في القدره على الوصول الى المعلومه واستنتاجها، ويتبعه بعد كده هو انجنز كتير جدا في نفس الاتجاه في مجال الارتفيشال انتليجنس، اللي بتفتح لنا بقى افاق جديده خالص. حاجات يعني ما كناش نقدر نعملها بنفسنا، اصبح النهارده الارتفيشال انتليجنس قادر ان هو يساعدنا عليها وان احنا نعملها وبسهوله متناهيه، ومفيش مقارنه خالص ما بين ما قبل تشات جي بي تي وما هو آت بعد تشات جي بي تي ان شاء الله. ارجع تاني لمجموعه التكنولوجيات اللي هتظهر او اللي بتواكب الثوره الصناعيه الرابعه، وابتدي اتكلم بقى على موضوعنا النهارده وهو الديجيتال توينز، وتحديدا الديجيتال توينز فيما يتعلق بالسمارت بوردز. بسم الله بسم الله، تمام تمام كده. ديجيتال توين هو توأم رقمي، توأم رقمي لما هو فيزيكال. فزي ما انتم شايفين في الفيديو المصاحب للشرح، اصبحنا النهارده قادرين ان يكون في صوره رقميه لكل ما هو موجود في العالم الواقعي. والديجيتال توين ده هو الفايده منه هو ان احنا بنقدر ان احنا نطور مفهوم المحاكاه السيميليشن اللي احنا بنستخدمه من 30 سنه النهارده، لان هو يبقى محاكاه آنية. ما يحدث في الواقع يحدث في السيميليشن، ونقدر ان احنا نجرب او نختبر او نطور في السيميليشن عشان نقدر ان احنا نجرب على طول في الواقع، وبالتالي نقدر نطور العمليات. ببساطه كده هو الاساس بتاع الديجيتال توين هو سيميليشن موديل زي اللي احنا متعودين عليه زمان، لكن اللي بيميزه ان في سنسورز وفي بيانات ويتم تجميعها في الوقت الآني، ويتم انعكاس هذه البيانات على نماذج المحاكاة، وبالتالي يقدر متخذ القرار ان هو يدرس واقع ويقرر بناء على احداث فعليه، مش احداث ممكن يكون فيها نوع من انواع التخمين او عدم
Original asset is used to build and improve the digital twin.
وبالتالي
By providing a precise, up-to-date model of its original, a digital twin can help designers, engineers, contractors, owners, and manufacturers create more efficient structures. Digital twins can help with everything from planning, design, and construction to operations and maintenance. Consider a building that's already been designed and constructed. Imagine there's a digital twin of the entire facility, from the roof to the HVAC, the mechanical, engineering, and plumbing systems. Now imagine that sensors in the building provide the digital twin with real-time information. The digital twin updates itself according to the data. Then, building owners can view areas where the building is aging or faulty and make improvements.
قبل ما يروح ويطبقوا على الواقع الحقيقي. وده بنقدر احنا نعمله باستخدام ادوات التحاليل او التحليلات الاناليتكس وادوات الارتفيشال انتليجنس والبيزنس انتليجنس. ومن هنا نقدر نعمل بقى تنبؤات، ونقدر نعمل اوبتمايزيشن، ونقدر نوصل الوضع الحالي. وطبعا لازم يكون في كونكتيفيتي، لازم يكون في شبكه تواصل ما بين هذه الاجزاء وبعدها علشان تقدر تعمل. يعني الديجيتال توينز في 2022 اليو بتاع السوق ده حوالي 11 مليار دولار. التوقعات بتتنبأ ان في خلال 5-6 سنين هنوصل الى 8 اضعاف الرقم ده. في سنه 2027 2028 هنوصل الى 86 مليار دولار بالمعدل اللي احنا ماشيين بيه حاليا في هذا التطور. وبالتالي هي تكنولوجيا حقيقيه وواقعيه آتية لا محاله، واحنا علينا حاجه من اختيار من اتنين: يا اما القطر هيجي قدامنا وهنركب فيه ونواكب التطور، او لو ما لحقناهوش وركبنا هيعدينا وهنتفرج عليه وهنحاول بقى ان احنا نلحقه. فمن هنا انا مهتم جدا ان احنا نستوعب التكنولوجيا المهمه دي ونشوف ازاي ان احنا هنقدر نستخدمها، خصوصا ان التطبيقات في كل مناحي الحياه، في كل التكنولوجيات، في النظم الهندسيه، في صناعه السيارات، في صناعه الطائرات، في الريل كارز، في البيلدينج اند كونستراكشن، في التصنيع. بدون شك في المواني البحريه والمواني الذكيه. ازاي بقى ده بيحصل في المواني البحريه والمواني الذكيه؟ احنا ده يمكن شفناه كلنا من سنوات، السيميليشن مودلز. من سنوات استخدمنا السيميليشن مودلز علشان ثانيه واحده، استخدمنا السيميليشن مودلز سنوات علشان نقدر ان احنا نحسن اداره محطات تداول الحاويات او المواني عموما، وبدون شك ليها تاثير كويس جدا على تطوير ودعم اتخاذ القرار في هذا السياق. الجديد ان كل معده وكل مكون في المينا هيكون مرتبط بالتوأم الرقمي اللي هو السيميليشن موديل، مشابه للي حضراتكم شايفينه لكنه حي ويعمل بناء على الواقع الذي يحدث الآن على أرض البيزنس وعلى إدارة المحطات تداول الحاويات. لكن الشاهد ان التطور اللي حصل مؤخرا بعد عملية يعني المرحلة دي، دخلنا في مستوى جديد، وهو القدرة على ربط هذه المحاكيات بالواقع، وده عن طريق نشر شبكة من السنسورز في أماكن مختلفة أو على المعدات الحيوية وعلى الأجزاء الحيوية في كل المعدات اللي موجودة. وبالتالي قدرنا إن احنا يبقى عندنا ما يسمى بالتوأم الرقمي. والتحدي فين هنا؟ التحدي في كمية البيانات. انت يعني كلنا شغلنا مثلا متعودين ناخد اكسل شيت، عندنا 5 اعمده وبندرس البيانات وبناخد قرارات. طب انت ما عندكش 5 اعمده، انت عندك 5000 معطى ومطلوب منك تاخد قرار. طبعا ده فوق طاقه البشر، صعب جدا ان الانسان يقدر ان هو ياخد قرار في حجم المعطيات والمدخلات دي، وال 5000 معطى دول بيتغيروا كل ثانيه. يلا ورينا شطارتك. طبعا مستحيل جدا. فبالتالي هنا ادوات الذكاء الاصطناعي لا مفر من استخدامها، وهي الاداه مع الخبره لمتخذ القرار ومع قدرته على استيعاب هذه التكنولوجيا بندي بقى ابعاد جديده وقويه جدا يقدر متخذ القرار ان هو يعول عليها في هذه القرارات اللي يتم اتخاذها. نشوف مثال.
In this project, there are 3 different application scenarios. Port operation monitoring. Utilizing a data-driven equipment model, 720-degree digital twin monitoring system that leaves no blind spots. Container and yard management. Implementing a 3-dimensional management approach for containers and yards to enhance precision in operation management. Emergency and safety management. Rapid emergency event detection and response, facilitating safety and security management. In the digital twin port, you can see the movement of every facility, including trucks, containers, etc., and all in real time, because the digital twin is connected with sensors, security cameras on the site, and shows a full picture what's going on in one screen, so you can easily identify the most efficient operation. With the digital twin solution, the port management has become safer, more efficient, and more profitable. Port officials said the income has increased by 30% since the deployment of the digital twin solution.
وكل ده in real time. طبعا احنا بنتكلم على افاق كبيره جدا وابعاد كبيره جدا للتطبيقات دهيت. هنتكلم على اوبتمايزيشن للانفراستراكشر مانجمنت. كل المعدات وكل البنيه التحتيه اللي موجوده في المينا انت بتعظم استخدامها واستغلالها. ريل تايم مونيتورنج اند كنترول، قادر تاخد قراراتك ان ريل تايم بدون ما تخسر اي داون تايم وبدون ما تخسر فلوس. شفنا اهميه السيفتي. هنا انت مش محتاج تستخدم كاميرا للمراقبه وانت تاخد القرار، لا، الارتفيشال انتليجنس انجن هو اللي بيشوف المشكله وهو اللي بياخد القرار وهو اللي بيحمي النظام من نفسه في حاله حدوث او توقع حدوث حتى اي مشاكل. طبعا الامباكت على السبلاي تشين وعلى البلوك تشين وعلى كل العمليات المرتبطه بما يحدث في الميناء او في محطه دواء الحاويات. ومن اهم الحاجات طبعا انفيرمنتال سستينابيلتي، رفع الكفاءه معناها انبعاثات اقل، معناها استهلاك اقل في الوقود، معناها رفع كفاءه، معناها تقليل تكاليف، وكل ده في الاخر بيصب في نفس الوعاء، وعاء الاستدامه وصداقه البيئه. طيب احنا فين في الكلام ده؟ هل هو حلم ولا حقيقة؟ كل الفيديوهات اللي حضرتك شفتوها النهاردة كلها واقع يحدث في مكان ما في العالم، والتجارب، وطبعا صعب ان انا اتكلم وفي متحدثين من ميناء انتورب شفتم التكنولوجيا اللي موجودة، لكن التجارب في كل مكان، في روتردام وفي سنغافور وفي هامبورغ طبعا برضو تم ذكر الحالة بتاعتهم، وانتورب واحده من الحالات الجميله اللي جبت لكم عليها فيديو كده هوت لطيف وصغير ينقلنا لما يحدث الان على ارض الواقع وليس خيال علمي. اتمنى بس ان الفيديو نتفرج مع بعض.
Hello, I'm Apika, your virtual assistant monitoring all activities in the port of Antwerp Bruges and providing real-time information on weather conditions, air quality, shipping traffic, bridges and locks. Thanks to a digital network of drones, cameras and sensors inspired by the 5 human senses, I can tell what is happening in the port 24/7. In case of an incident, I react and send an alert to a safety officer. When an INOS detects a harmful smell, they can examine the cause and intervene if needed. Autonomous drones and patrol vessels are always on standby to take a closer look at the situation. I help to make activities more efficient and precise. Is a barge berthed correctly and connected to shore power? How much energy are our wind turbines producing? And are all lifebuoys hanging in their closets? Soon, I will even be able to predict the future. By combining historic data and artificial intelligence, I can detect potential congestion and dangerous situations before they occur, enabling safe, smooth and sustainable traffic in the port. In this way, I'm helping Port of Antwerp Bruges become the port of the future.
الكلمات المحورية هنا هي البيانات وآملين القدرة على التنبؤ بالمستقبل، ودي حاجة مهمة جدا. يعني ايه؟ يعني هتقدر النهاردة تبقى عارف ان كمان اسبوع المعدة الفلانية هيحصل لها انهيار، تقوم تعمل او تنظم او تخطط الصيانة الوقائية قبل الانهيار ده هو ب5 ايام، وانت متأكد ان هيحصل انهيار، ومش هتعمل صيانة وقائية بدون داعي لان عندك بيانات حقيقيه من الاداء او من المشكله اللي بتحصل في المعده. وبالتالي optimization logistics and supply chain management definitely sustainability و environmental impact عاليه جدا للتكنولوجيا دي، وهتتيح لنا كمان تطور كبير جدا. في واحد من المشروعات الرائده اللي جاري النهارده في الاتحاد الاوروبي هو الديجيتال توين فور جرين شيبينج، وازاي بقى ان احنا نطور ونحسن عمليات الشحن والنقل علشان نقلل الانبعاثات بقدر الامكان عن طريق توأم رقمي يتابع ويسمح بالتحكم في كل عمليات النقل البحري in real time. فده الحاجة الوحيدة يمكن في البرزنتيشن كلها اللي بتتكلم عن المستقبل، الباقي كله واقع وحاضر يحدث في مكان ما في العالم النهارده. الخلاصة والاستنتاج هو تكنولوجيا التوأم الرقمي تكنولوجيا يعني متطورة جدا ومتقدمة جدا ومتسارعة جدا. يا دوبك نلحق نتدرب ونتعلم ونستقطب مثل هذه التكنولوجيات علشان نبدا من حيث انتهى الاخرين. مهم قوي التكامل ما بين الاوتوميشن والديجيتال توينز عشان نقدر ان احنا نوصل لاعلى يعني تطبيق واحسن تطبيق. واهم حاجه بقى التحدي الكبير القدره على التنبؤ بالمستقبل بناء على معطيات الحاضر ومعطيات الماضي. بشكر لحضراتكم حسن الاستماع واتمنى اكون فدتكم وشكرا جزيلا.
شكرا جزيلا دكتور عمرو. يعني زي ما توقعت فعلا كان لازم السيشن ديت تبقى بعد اللانش بريك علشان تاتراكت الناس مره ثانيه للجو بتاع البرزنتيشنز. شكرا جزيلا. على شخصيا ليا سؤال لحضرتك بعد يعني في الديسكشن في الاخر ان شاء الله، ولو في اي حد من حضراتكم له اي اسئله ان شاء الله بعد البرزنتيشن. الورقه الثانيه لكابتن يوس ليريك. كابتن يوس ريليك بريزيدنت اند سي او لشركه لوجيستيك كونسلتيشن انترناشونال. كابتن يوس is an expert advisor port operation في كيوبيك بورت اوثوريتي ميناء كيوبيك في كندا، والرئيس السابق لمنظمه المواني الاتحاد المواني العالمي. Captain Jos Lorik has over 35 years of experience in the maritime mode, port operation, logistics, and transportation and technology. During his career, Captain Jos Lorik was specialized in gas carriers and oil tankers. He had the opportunity to work and collaborate in the strategic development of several and major Canadian port authorities, such as Port of Metro Vancouver, Port of Montreal, Port of Quebec. So I think this huge resume and this huge CV we need to highlight regarding the topic for innovation in maritime industry. Thank you, Captain Jos, and the floor is yours.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. I'm very honored to be here today, and I would like to thank the Libyan government, Professor Morsi, and the Free Zone for inviting me for this conference. Today I have just 15 minutes. I'm going to be very high level. I'm sorry for that. You're going to have to come to Egypt in March if you want to have the full presentation. I'm going to be talking about port governance, mass autonomous vessels, port and autonomous vessel interface, and I will finish with the human element. Then, as Professor Morsi said, I'm the CEO of Logistics Consulting International, based in Vancouver. We work around the world. We have a presence in UAE, Cameroon, and Algeria, and we provide expertise in port marine management and operations and infrastructure. Now I'm going to do some semantic. There's a lot of wording, digitization. I just want to give a simple definition. When we talk about digitization, is really to move data from an analog to a digital format. And the digitalization is really to use the digitization to improve the processes and bring some automation. Then, as you saw, I'm talking about intelligent versus smart. And I argue that to be smart, you need to be intelligent. And we've been talking since the morning about technology, about systems. But as far as I'm concerned, with over 30 years with port authorities, it comes down to the governance, the organization, the procedure that you have, the processes, all the collaborative approach, and we heard that, from Antwerp, how collaboration is important. And after that, when you have all the bases, then you can add technology to optimize and perform. Then for me, it's quite important. And I go around the world, and people think that technology will solve everything, but a lot of time you have to go back to the basis. Having, the skills and the right people at the basis. Then when you talk about governance, I'm going to go very fast. It's about policies that you have internally to ensure that the way you perform are adequate. It's about the function, ensuring the role and responsibilities of your organization, the daily work, and all the people that are involved in the day-to-day operation. The technical management of data, and you see nowadays it's critical with the big data, how this is managed, how the data is managed, stored, and used. The market pricing and regulation, we talk about competitivity, making sure that we know what are the market, what the market is doing, what are the trends, what are the emerging issues. Management of agreements. In Canada, we are port authorities, but we have leases with private contractors. Then it's a big responsibility, and there is a lot of money to make there. When you have the right contract, the right lease with key performance indicator, making sure that you have a team that is looking at that, making sure that the renewal is looking forward. Attached to that, there is all the asset management that is quite important. It's very capital intensive. Then linking, this management, the asset management with your contract, you're going to know which, which lease you're going to have to refurbish or not. Then it's very, very important. And a lot of time we don't pay attention to this kind of aspect that are critical for a port or an organization. And finally, the management of emerging issues. Okay, as we say, tomorrow it has to be decided today. Then we need today, and we saw the Port of Antwerp with the hydrogen. They are looking, towards tomorrow, but they are preparing today. Digitalization. We heard about the single window. As you know, there is a requirement for January 2024 for port authorities to have a single window in place. Unfortunately, I saw several ports that are still behind, and it's going to be interesting in January to see what will happen. The benefit, we already talked about that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but it's really about the efficiency and effectiveness. I can take the example of the catastrophic situation during the COVID, and ports like Singapore was less affected because they had already a lot of digitalization in place. Then they cope better with that major pandemic. Some case study, through digitalization, the port of Valencia was able to save 21 million euro per year. The same thing for Felixstowe in England. A lot of efficiencies and improving the traffic flow. The same thing for Singapore in 2012. They saved up to 80 million for their entire port community over a 3-year period. The port of Rotterdam, a more efficient traffic information, leading to a greater efficiency and lower cost. When we talk about digitalization, again, you need to plan it. It doesn't happen like that. You need to really commit. And we used to say that for any project, it's 80% of planning and 20% of action. Then we've been involved, and it's a hard work, and especially for the implementation. Again, we talk about the stakeholder engagement, the technology and implementation, trying to integrate all that through project management and change management. That is quite important. Now, when we talk about the autonomous vessels, you heard that it's very trendy. As you know, the International Maritime Organization have put a work plan to develop a code, a mass code, like they developed the Polar Code, and within an adoption time by July 2026, and a full entry into force in 2028. Basically, it's tomorrow. The first step will be a non-mandatory code that will target cargo ships only. Myself, Captain Michael Trent, and Captain Gary Wilson are on that working group representing the International Harbor Master Association. Right now, as we are working on the review of the regulatory scoping exercise, and things that are looked at are the definition for degree of autonomy for an autonomous vessels, and I have a slide about that later. All the definitions of the terms of master, crew, responsible person, but also we talk about the future remote operation center. There's a lot of discussion about that. Who's going to be, working in this operation center? What kind of credential they're going to have? Do they have to be mariners or not? Then there's a lot of discussion. And again, the issue of connectivity and cybersecurity. Now, mass revolution rather than revolution. And we saw the presentation from Tawil talking about the first, second, third, and fourth revolution. And I can give an example. When I was sailing, when I started in the 80s as a young mariner, I was on a ship of 225 meters long, and we were 75 crew members. When I left 20 years later, the ship was 400 meters, and we were 25 crew members. Then I have seen the automation, on board, with fully automated engine room, non-manned engine room. Nowadays, you get into a bridge of a vessel, and it's like a plane. A lot of technology. I was talking about the degree of autonomy. There is a distinction between automation and autonomy. The automation is the ability of a system to control a vehicle. It's like the cruise control in your car. This is automation. Autonomy is the system is not only capable to control, but can also deal with issues and problems. Then IMO has defined 4 degrees of autonomy. The first one is to have the seafarers on board, managing the vessel. The second one will be with the seafarers on board, but with the remotely controlled operation. The third one would be a remotely control of the ship with no seafarers on board. And the last one is a fully autonomous vessels. Now, when we talk about the autonomous vessel system, there are many components. The ship, the automation on board, the support system that is going to make sure that the vessel is under control, the connectivity, but again, the humans. For me, it's, the critical piece. The human that will be able to ensure not only that the operation carry on, but also to troubleshoot. There was a Rolls Ship Intelligence. They put a timeline about when we're going to see this fully autonomous vessel, sailing in the seas. And as you can see, they were. This was in 2016. They were looking at vessel operated locally, and we see already some pilot project. And Professor Eric talked about the Yara Birkeland, for example. Then we see that already, some pilot project. By 2025, to have a remote control unmanned coastal ship. 2030, remote unmanned ocean going ship. And by 2035, full autonomous vessel. They expect that we will see local transportation system. We call that short sea shipping in North America. That will be, we're going to see that soon with this kind of vessel moving, a small vessel cargo from one place to the other. Now the current situation, I talked about the pilot project. There are a lot of trials around the world in England, Germany, in Asia. And it's really to look at the navigation, the propulsion, the steering, and the control of machineries. There's the Yarra Birkeland here. Now the challenges. There are some challenges with the sensors and system in all weather situation. The issue of standardized algorithm of collision avoidance, all the issues of connectivities, and the safety requirement with the ISM code and things like that. Now, there are several studies, if you have time, around the autonomous vessels. I would say since 2017, there have been a lot of attention and a lot of research on autonomous vessel. There was this studies from Komianos in 2018, where he identified potential risk, with the systems, with the navigation system, the sensors modules, and etc. And the risk, the cyber risk, the failure of equipment or device, and also the challenge with cargo. I would say that I was looking at on the land side, just for your information, in 2023, since January 2023, in San Francisco, they have a driverless cab service that is offering services to people. And since January, they had over 70 incidents of interference between the driverless car, the autonomous car, with the emergency services. And there was even an instance in last August, where a driverless cab hit a fire truck. Then we can see that on the land side is not yet ready. Then just to give you a sense of the situation. Now, when we look at the port, and we talked about the terminal automation, we have several projects around the world, is working very well with a lot of efficiency and so on. However, I talked about the autonomous vessel, we talked about the terminal, but the interface, this will be the challenge. The interface between the future autonomous vessel and the port. And there is not a lot of study about that. I did a review of the body of knowledge, and I didn't see a lot of focus study around the interface, port and mass vessels. But I find this a study from Kurt and Amalek in 2021, and basically what the study showed is that the people that were interviewed looked at autonomous vessels and port that would basically help the port through a cost reduction and operational reduction and some potential increase in navigation safety. Now, this is quite important because we talked all this morning about technology, and this technology readiness. This was provided by the World Maritime University. And again, it's not all the countries that are here, but it's just to showcase that, in Europe and North America, we are, quite advanced in all this technology, but it's not the case everywhere. Then they're going to be the question of this autonomous vessel. Yes, I welcome an autonomous vessel here, but what is going to do if he cannot get to another port that doesn't have this level of technology? Then this is going to be something that is going to be important to follow. Oh. The port mass ecosystem, as you can see, is quite complex with a lot of issues there. The challenges, we talked about it, is going to be from the port perspective, how they're going to manage day-to-day with no one on board, who's going to be responsible, the technical management, the maintenance and repairs, the cargo handling and lashing, and the cargo management. They're going to be issues from a port interface. From a legal perspective, there's a lot of questions, and Eric talked a little bit about them. The role and responsibility of the master, the role and responsibility of the remote operator. There's also the issue of the flag state with the Article 94, who's going to be responsible if the remote control center is in another country. There is all this that is right now on work. From the skill perspective, they're going to be opportunities for labor to get trained and get ready, but they're going to be challenges. They did some testing, a crane operator that would basically use to work on the crane, and they moved it to a digital way, and he had to be retrained. It's not something easy. Then there are going to be opportunities, but also challenges with getting people ready. The human factor, there was a study from Malam and all showing the potential challenges about autonomous vessel, the trust, the awareness, training and organization, but also all the factors that organization will have to deal with, the culture change, the working environment design, and etc. The situational awareness, from Hensley, the model of Hensley, and this is applicable to the cognitive process of a human, but it's going to be the same for the ship with all the sensors, how they're going to be able to perceive the issue, to comprehend it, to project the future state, and to take a decision. This is also a big challenge. Oh, doesn't work. No. Can someone? Is it disconnected? Sorry? I can go? Okay. No, it doesn't work. Okay, you want to fix it? Okay. 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 I'm almost finished. Okay. I was here? Yeah. Yeah. Then, as I said, situational awareness will be a key, critical aspect for these autonomous vessels, and even for the remote operation center officers, because again, when everything is good, the vessel will be, following the algorithm. But when there is an issue, how the future operator will be able to get in the loop fast and be able to take the right decision. Then the challenge and risk, we talked about that, how we're going to implement. The implementation is always the biggest issue. Cyber attack, data breaches, technological failure, and disruption in workflow. Now the recommendation, raising awareness regarding the mass. There's a lot of things that are said about it, but raising awareness within the port community and the industry community. The facilitation through dialogue between stakeholders in global transport. establishing a national strategies and policies to address the digitalization trend in transport will be important. Identifying all the essential skills needed and establishing sustainable education and training plan. And again, as I said, tomorrow has to be dealt with today. Okay, I can give you an example. When we built our operation center in Vancouver, I was training the future team 2 years in advance to be ready to get there and perform. And lastly, but not the least, is supporting the developing country in their transitioning to cope with the new technology, and it's what I was talking about, the technology index around the world, to make sure that if there is tomorrow trade with autonomous vessel, they're going to be able to trade from country to the other. And in conclusion, I would say that I'm a fierce defender and protector of the human being, the people, and the team. I'm used to say that this is the jewel that anyone can have. And I remember when we opened the ceremony from the new control center, we had the visit from a dignitary from around the world, and I get the guy from security. He said, "Oh," he said, "Can they take pictures?" You know, I said, "Yeah." I said, "But you know, you're not scared they're gonna take picture of the whole system?" I said, "They can take all the equipment, but they're gonna take my people. This, they cannot copy that." Then I would leave you with that. Thank you very much.
I think that my voice is loud, right? I think that post-presentation for Professor Amrutawi and Captain Yos Laruk is very simple and integrating each other. For me, I have
All right, thank you. I hear you very less, but I believe it's working. I will see the message of.
Norway and 14 Institute Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and Maritime Transport.
All right. Do you hear me well?
Yes, your voice is very clear, and I'd like to announce that yesterday we have signed a memorandum of understanding between the University of Southeastern Norway and the Arab Academy. Dr. Eric has been signed this memorandum of understanding. Thanks a lot, and best of luck for both of us. Professor Salman Nazir actually is a professor in the Department of Maritime Operation, and he is now head of the Training and Assessment Research Group with international academic credentials, including degrees from South Korea and Italy. His expertise extends into the human factor and virtual reality, training simulator, performance assessment, and complex socio-technical system. And I think this bio is very resemble and integrate with Professor Amrutawi and Captain Yos in the same discipline. So I think that this session is very integrated with each other. The floor is yours, Professor Salman. We are waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Morsi, and thank you very much for inviting me and all the efforts you have made in organizing this excellent event. And also Ms. Nagwa has been very kind and supportive. And congratulations to us for being able to sign this MOU, and my very nice colleague for whom I have a lot of respect, Turarik, is there. And I'm very pleased for this development and look forward to that. I have been following the conference virtually. Unfortunately, I was not able to reach there for some circumstances. And I must say I'm intrigued with the talks and the contents, and especially in this session where we are looking into the state of the art of what is available in terms of digitalization. And it made me reflect that the opportunities we have today are almost infinite in terms of what can be done by using the digital tools. And this is one example. I'm here in Norway, actually, in my home office, and I'm having this talk in Libya on this very interesting conference on very fascinating topics. And the list is very long. So, but I also invite us to step back, which I will focus more in this talk, and understand, which the last speaker and the last two speakers I have mentioned, that what will be the role of human as we continuously embrace digitalization, digital tools, artificial intelligence, and more technological integration to our systems and to the maritime domain. And my own story is that I was doing a master's 12 years before, perhaps, or more, in South Korea, and using artificial neural network, AI, to achieve some higher level of safety in the system. And working on algorithms and understanding that how can we improve the quality of the code or the tool which I was using. And I was also looking, how can I increase the safety of this system? And then I came across this concept where human is a part of our system. So we cannot deal with the system and human separately. We have to see human as a part of the system. And today, that knowledge and that way of thinking is even more important to recognize and realize and adequately adjust ourselves and our systems. So human is integrated part of the system. And we are talking about autonomy, and autonomy means apparently that there is no human, but we all know that is not happening tomorrow. And also human is still in the loop. So without losing time, I have thank you for the introduction. This is already covered, that these are my research areas, and I'm very lucky, have been very lucky to have wonderful colleagues. Steve Malam was mentioned, the article which we co-authored by the last speaker, that we've been producing some results and doing some excellent research within the topics of training, assessment, and you can look into from a digital side, from the technology integration side, from the user perspective, and also we step back and see that what kind of skills we can instill to the operator, which ensure an efficient and safe use of the digital tools alone and the systems as a whole. And these are some of the funded projects which I have been fortunate and humble to lead with some amazing and brilliant researchers and scientists and practitioners all around the world. I think I have one slide on the Center of Excellence. Yeah. So we have this Center of Excellence in Maritime Simulator Training and Assessment. And as I mentioned before, that it is essential for us to not use technology or digital tools in implementation, in ports, in logistics, and so on, but also who are using those tools are human operators, directly, indirectly, or indirectly. And how can we use the digital tools to train or educate those humans so they can better adapt? They are kind of upgraded in a way that they can deal with those tools in a more efficient and safer way. And I believe this is a challenge which we are facing, and which we will face. And in a very simple way, the evolution of humans is not as the same as the evolution of technology. We have not evolved with the same speed and pace. Our cognition, our mental capacity has not changed so dramatically as compared to the technology we are using. I mean, a simple example which we can relate to is the car industry, the vehicles. And we see that in the last 30 years, the progress in the interface of the car we drive has changed a lot. And it is continuously changing. But we are the same humans with the same hands and the same fingers and the same mental ability in this example. And then we need to ask ourselves, how can we train ourselves better to deal with these systems and work with this system more efficiently and more safely? We can discuss that if the car industry is the best example, but I hope I'm able to share what is the reasonable and rational behind being so passionate about this work and research. You're welcome to follow this work from the Center of Excellence, and there are different areas: student engagement, organization development, and how can we lift the quality of the maritime education sector so we can produce the future seafarers, if you want to name it, or future operators, or future officers in different format and different levels of this complex industry. So I planned to spend a few minutes on this slide, but I have seen previous presentation and carefully observed them, and I think most of them is very well covered and covered by the ones who are in the industry. So I would take your time in more towards how can we use these technologies to enhance our human so that the whole systems can perform better. This was one of my master student, and we did we have been doing a lot of experiment in use of the digital tools, and virtual reality is one of them. So some of the key technologies, not all, of course, one is artificial intelligence. And we know that there are different schools of thinking here. For example, one is that we cannot rely on it because it's, or some part of it in education or research, because there are flaws and errors. The other is that it's a tool, and we need to know how to use it in the best way, and not be scared and afraid of it, but use it as to empower the work we are doing. And there are other ways of thinking also. Some are more I would say rational, at least for the majority of the people. And this is one of the matters which we will know maybe in 10 years time, that the decisions were made today about the use of AI, how smart they were. In retrospect, it's always easy to analyze things. So I believe it's difficult to predict it perfectly, how the use of AI, I'm talking about education, and I will give some examples where we'll have an impact, and we believe a lot positive impact will be there. So Another virtual reality, and I mean, now you see me on a 2D screen, perhaps on a large screen, and the slide on the side. And we have the technology today available that all of you can wear a headset and you see me as me there, and I can see you all there by just looking around. We have that technology. Of course, it's in the beta version, and then that digital tool, if we may say, bring a lot of questions also, and a lot of questions which are also questioning the evolution of humans and how societies are organized and what is the future of whole societal system and the socio-economic part, socio-technical part of it. Augmented reality is a tool where you can augment information. That is very useful, and we have discovered also in our research in operations, when you're doing operations, if you can have right information in front. Eye tracking is a tool we have again used and generated a lot of data, and that is follow the gaze of your eye and see where you are looking. And when you're dealing with the large systems with a lot of information coming to you, then even you're looking at that information, but you're not reading that information, you're not perceiving that, and when you don't perceive it, you don't comprehend it, and you predict it in different way, as the last speaker was covering in the end of his slide. So these are the tools which we are excited about, and we are eager to understand their pros, but also their cons, their disadvantages or limitations. And that is something which we are prone to do when we see there is a new technology which is quite exciting. All of them are. We tend to assume that this is the solution. This is what we are waiting for. And the business side of it is also the business part of it, who are making the fortune out of it, is also portraying in that way. So as scientists and working in human factors with an engineering background and having a bit of understanding of cognition, psychology, organization structures, it's a question we ask ourselves: what is the real effectiveness of this tool? Another area which we need to be conscious about is the transparency, and how much information is the right information, or is it sufficient information for me to do an operation, to do to control a vessel from a shore, for example. We have Thor Eric, he has been looking into it from different perspectives. What are my limitations of my short-term memory, my long-term memory, my decision making, my mental capacity, and my situation awareness, if you say cognitive workload? How can I evaluate that? How can I understand that? So we use tools, for example, cognitive task analysis or goal-directed task analysis, to understand that how is the task is done. So one is how the task is perceived by the operator or by a designer, for example, and then in reality how the task is done. And when the systems are autonomous or semi-autonomous, then we don't use our skills all the time. And there is a law from 1940s, the law of forgetting, that the skills we don't use tend to decline. So what is the refresher training for that? So these are type of the questions which we have been doing research on. Is not only at a high level. I'm presenting at a high level, and we are trying to answer them through continuous research on these topics and beyond. So I will share some of the results. Before that, I will share some more thoughts on why simulators are one of the important reason or justification for employing them when we are moving towards digitalization in the industry. And these are some of the keywords which we all use and many of are familiar with. that the skills are continuously need to be upgraded. So this is a tool that you can simulate the situation, simulate the scenario, simulate the risky situation, abnormal accidents or pre-accidents scenarios to get the skills and the understanding of the system. Of course, there are a lot of benefits in predicting performance, and you can use those models not only in simulators, go beyond to that. Their cost effectiveness is well known, as well as there is a clear data that having in our study we discovered that the motivation level of students were higher when they were using a VR headset versus when they were using a 2D simulator. But it is not as simple as it seems. And that is also a tendency when we are not looking at things through a systematic way using a tool, the matters or the information seems more simpler and the decisions are made. So this is one study we did with one of my excellent PhD student about assessment of maritime simulators. And if you can use this knowledge elsewhere also, you need to tailor it. So just to give you this scope that, so as I said, that simulator is a solution, but is it a solution which just fits? Is digital tools like, for example, VR, virtual reality, is a solution which will just answer our problem, our training problems? The answer is no. We need to look into it from different dimensions.
2 minutes.
Different dimensions, for example, technical dimensions, fidelity, how depth is the nature of the simulator, physical fidelity, functional fidelity, and social fidelity. So this is an example, and I believe that you will have these slides and you can look into it and go into the literature. I will just show one more slide where I am covering the topics. This is an example of how we can have real-time simulator assessment of performance in real time when we are assessing a performance of a trainee. And if we have an artificial intelligence AI model working, it can evaluate the performance in real time and predict it. It's not the work we have finalized, but it is something in the pipeline. So this is my last slide, actually, some areas which to explore and collaborate, perhaps through MOU and beyond. And it's involved about integration of AI in VR, in performance assessment, in adaptive learning, personalized learning, and as well as crisis management situations by simulating that. So it was a short time, but I hope I was able to deliver a part of the message. And you are welcome to contact me, and Thorarik is there. These are the references and these are my contact details. And I really appreciate the opportunity to stand here and share this work with you.
Thank you, Professor Salman. Actually, the presentation is very interesting and very integrated with both presentations. And I'd like to say something out of scope, to be frankly speaking. When you have been showed on the monitor for the first time, I guess that my IT colleagues has made a mistake and they show a movie for one of our Egyptian actors called Omar al-Sharif. He is a very famous actress in Egypt, and he is very smart. And I think that it is a movie for Omar al-Sharif, not a presentation and intervention. So congratulations for your presentation, and thank you again. We can we can begin the interventions. If anyone need to ask a question, please in less than 1 minute question. And for our distinguished speakers, I need very short answer. Thank you. Sylvia, ladies first.
Thank you so much for the presentations. I was wondering if with artificial intelligence, you were aiming to go from automation to autonomy, and when you're troubleshooting, you normally need a lot of experience to be able to solve certain issues. And if you don't have that one person that has been with an equipment or vessel or crane or talking about ports for many years, then you don't know how to solve it. Is it expected that artificial intelligence will learn how to do that, or will it have to copy it from the person that knows? For any of you?
It's a very good question, actually. There is not like a perfect answer to that. In our understanding, we will rely on the expert. Perhaps we will be using digital tools, and that person either can join that situation using a VR headset. It's like this one, and or an augmented reality headset where the person on the operation can get the help from the expert, and that can see the same screen and guide that person. So this is how we see it, but it's not something which is it is definite at the moment, because it's an evolving industry and research area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sylvia. Dr. Ali Asim.
Well, Doctor, thank you very much for your presentation, and happy that I think we will have a communication together personally after that. But my question with regard to the last slide, you talked about artificial intelligence application in terms of assessment of performance. So whether or not you are talking about performance assessment for people who are working in the ports, or you are talking about performance assessment for the ports itself, or both. So the thing is, if there is an application with regard to that, we can use it in our ports so that we can assess our performance for both people working in the port and also the performance of the port. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Actually, this part is an ongoing work, which is challenging in its form, but I can share the concept, and you are welcome to take it and try to develop that application, is to have a sufficient input data and use it in a model, and based on the previous history of the data. So what we are doing is, so we have this benchmark performance, and we are using the data to reach a standard benchmark for that operation. And if the performance of the operator is within a zone of, let's say, correct operations, we call it as a good performance. But as you know, this field is developing and growing so fast, and we are not, as a department, we are not a technology department. We are more using the technology. So you're welcome to collaborate on this and find the ones who are developing the technology.
Professor Salman, any other further questions? Actually, I have a question for Professor Amr Al-Tawil regarding the comparison between the normal simulating modeling and the digital twins. We have used for making a simulation for using any software, and by the end of the day, we are making a validation and we are accepting a rate of difference or a rate of margin. What happened, or what is the situation in the digital twins? Would we accept the same rate of margin and the same accepting rate of error?
Well, the situation will be much improved with digital twins, because in simulation models, we use historical data, then we develop a model, we validate it, and then we use the current actual status. And this data, this information will be plugged into the simulator, and you will be able to develop a decision that is valid for the current situation with the current variables and the current environment and the current inputs. And of course, in that level, the quality of the decision-making process will be much improved, and the quality of the decision itself will be also much improved, and the expected error will be greatly reduced.
Great.
And this also connects to the question of Sylvia. Some decisions can be really autonomous. but at some level, a human being or a human expert can be called upon. But the system will decide that, whether it is within my capability to make the decision or I should call the expert. And then maybe at the third level, as Professor explained, an expert and a man on the floor using some kind of augmented reality so that they can both see, they can interact with the issue. And again, we're not there yet, but we are on the road and very fast too. I hope I answered.
Thank you, Professor Amr Tawil. Any further questions? Actually, I have a last question for Captain Yas regarding one of the important IMO conventions, and I'd like to highlight for this important convention related to the MAS, Maritime Autonomous Service Ship. What is the effect of the MAS convention on the Port Authority? And what is the extent of readiness for the Port Authority for this convention?
As I said, right now they are in development, and we are part of the International Harbor Master Association, and we are there to ensure that anything that will impact the port, and I talked about it in my presentation, the interface, the approaches of the port, the communication, this will need to be still in development right now. But and I said twice, I said tomorrow needs to be decided today, and that this is what I say to ports. I said you need to think about it, because for me it's not if, is when. Then and again, we don't have a date. I showed you the Rolls-Royce, you know, they put 2035. I don't know. You know, we saw what is going on the land side. It's very interesting because there was this French mathematician, Julien Clerc, and he was involved with all the development on the land side with the autonomous car. And apparently the one of the first leader in that domain sold everything, sold all his data. And he was able to get some of it. And at some point he had a video, and it was a car that was driving along California, Beverly Hills, on the hills. And at some point the car was driving, and at some point the car would stop and go, stop and go. And no one understood what was going on. And he reviewed the video, and to finally find out that while the car was driving, there were two men walking on the sidewalk, and they were from the city hall, and one of them was carrying a stop sign. Then every time he was moving, the car would see the stop sign and would stop. Then you understand what I'm trying to say here, okay? Then yeah,
you can never know.
Yeah,
you can never know.
There is the judgment call, and yeah, there is a lot of improvement, a lot of amelioration, but on the port side, I believe that, yeah, you need to tackle this issue and think about it, because as I said, when you see one port, you see one port. Everyone has his own intricacies, his own challenges, and needs to plan accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Yas. I'd like finally to thank our distinguished speaker, Professor Amr Tawil, Professor Salman Nazir, and Captain Yas Larek for these distinguished presentations. And I'd like to say sorry for Professor Salman Nazir for this delay. Actually, it is out of our hand. And I'd like to thank all our audience for their patience. And I know that this day is very hard day as yesterday. And I'd like also to announce that to assure the same quality level of presentations and the same quality level of the attendees and the same quality level of the conference as a whole, I'd like to say that the final session for today will be moved to be the beginning of the session for tomorrow, the third day. So we are actually the enriching presentation with all these full details. We need to have very useful information for all the presentation. So we will close for now this day, and we will begin for tomorrow, inshallah, the session, which is the 6th session in the conference, to be the first session for tomorrow day. Thanks a lot for your attendance, and thanks a lot for all my team in Port Training Institute. We will meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp, inshallah. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.